I guess I'm live, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everyone's having a fantastic last few days of 2020. Time to flip that page, people. Time to flip that page. Huh. Is that a notification? Sean is live. That's right, ladies and gents. Bring it on down. If I had to guess any amount of money, I thought maybe Cindy would be the first one on the stream. It's show enough. A face only a mother can love. I think more than a few people love this face. Well, Sin City, everything is a shaking and a quaking when you're in California, right? You're not that far away. Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Senor Blueridge After Dark. So if you got the kids around, make sure you tuck them in. Grab yourself your favorite beverage of choice. I got water for right now because my throat is going to dry up. How do they make it so bland? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Dennis. Paula. Yeah, it's a decent face. I think I look better with maybe a full thing of facial hair. It's just it covers up the fatness of the old face. You damn right, Cindy. It's a great night to have the internet fixed because if your internet isn't fixed, what in the world are you doing on YouTube Live, right? So I hope everyone is having a fantabulous evening. Mr. James Candelaria, I want you to go ahead and send your images to info@livecoinqa.com. That's where officially all of the emails are kind of, the waves. I can imagine myself in Hawaii right now. We were in Hawaii a year from November. I miss it. And the big question is, Sean, can you live there? I'm like, well, after spending a week here, no, I cannot. I'm a migrator by trade. All right. That's habitually, I like to go places. When you're in Hawaii, it's a long ways to anywhere. And I'm not a big airplane fanatic either. I like being in the car, driving across the country, having to fill up the damn gas tank every 300 miles. Last video of the year, Orgulo. Oh, we could only be so fortunate, right? I think I'm good for one more video between now and yay, 2021. Happy fucking New Year. Couldn't have come at the best time. I have a belly button too. I bet you mine is deeper than yours. Right? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. James, I implore you, do not come to Northern California. There is nothing here for anybody. The whole state's been kind of a shit show with all of the stuff going around with restaurant closures and just everything. Everybody is so mad around here. Not me. Not I, said the fly. Dwayne and Hollister, you're not that far away. I was relatively close to your neck of the woods a few months ago. I mean, we went to Santa Cruz for a day. I don't know, James. Possibly. It's got to be COVID friendly. So, we got to wear our radioactive containment suits. Coins and Coffee. I love the name of that YouTube handle. That is simply fantastic. Mr. Rodas, how you doing tonight, sir? Good to see you. Sunny Gem, Laura Hashem. I hope I'm getting these names right. If not, I'm probably not suited for the English language. Robert Duty Heavy Duty Prospecting. That's a mouthful. McJames II. Is there a McJames the First? Yeah, isn't that cool, Laura? Nice little Volkswagen van that can barely get out of its own way. Probably top speed of 52 miles an hour. My brother would love it. He's a Volkswagen fanatic. Oh, Dwayne, no coin shops? Yeah, everybody's shopping online these days. So, yeah, I wouldn't sweat it. That's for sure. Yeah, don't talk about dentists, Marcos. The last dentist I went to ended up jacking up my crown. Now I can't even chew ice on that side. Whereas before, when it didn't need any work, I was able to eat ice cream, and I could eat like a bag full of nails on certain occasions. Pulling price to my place? What does that mean? D-Rest isn't that where everybody else is moving to? Texas. That's where all of the big corporations in Silicon Valley are moving to. But all the small shitty ones are still here, trying to make ends meet. No message on the board. Where's the happy, uplifting message? Believe me, in approximately 48 hours, a brand new year will be the uplifting message. No doubt about it. Exactly. What is a coin shop? I have a few that are open. I guess that's one of the benefits of being in my neck of the woods. You're closer to bigger cities. You have accessibility to all of the kind of weird stuff, right? Like coin shops and just four-wheel supply place. I don't know. All of the oddball stuff seems to end up in the bigger cities, especially in California. Have you guys been to LA? Like that whole Empire area? There's all sorts of weird shit you come across. It's like a head shop and a dance studio combined into one. I mean, come on now. How come I couldn't come up with that kind of concept? That's true. Coins and coffee. I would say there are a lot of things that I am particularly grateful for. A lot of things that I would say turned out really well, and I'm gonna carry it on through 2021. It just rolls off the tongue so much better than 2020. Like 2020 is supposed to be some sort of vernacular for your eyes' health, like clearer vision. Like, oh, I see. Yeah, this year sucked. But it doesn't have to be that way. That's for sure. We got a lot to look forward to, and I wanted to take some time and have a nice live convo with each and every single one of you as we kind of all walk through to 2021. Oh, Brian Miller, I don't know, man. Something is bound to happen, and that's going to be the topic of our live tonight. Oh, you lived in Blythe? Okay. How was living out there? Michael Kittle, welcome, sir. Good to see you. Michael Kittle, Rare Coins. Check out his wares. It's awesome. If you're looking for some highly beautiful coins, Michael Kittle definitely has the goods. Hey, Richard. No, nothing much in Blythe. Yeah, there's some of the outdoorsy things, fishing. Might be a little bit of hunting. I don't know. There's not a whole lot to hunt out there. Maybe the occasional deer. I brought my Sin City. I brought my wife to Vegas one year, probably 5 years ago, and that was only because one of her best friends had moved out there for work, and to get out of California. And we went out there. It was her first time there. And she's like, I don't want to go back. So, yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, boy. I was like, yeah, you don't want to go back at least once? Blues Coins has lost his loop and his mind. No, he hasn't lost his mind. Not yet. We got the same old folks in here. We got Paula. We got Seamus. We got Eric. We got it all, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, Paula has thrown up our Facebook group. Go ahead and check it out. You will have to fill out the appropriate questionnaire. And yes, you agree to all of the rules and policies and all that. That's the one big thing that people don't do is like, I accept. And they usually don't put any response. But usually that's kind of like the secret handshake to get yourself in the door. So make sure you do that. But yeah, we're looking for some new fresh meat, blood, or whatever you want to call it, into the live coin Q&A group. Much appreciate it. Carl, hey, you choked me up, man. No, you're not chopped liver. Yeah. Liver and onions. Any liver and onions fans out here? Probably all the ones with the explosive aortic mess in the middle of your chest after consuming such a meal, followed up by a cup of drawn butter to go along with your shrimp salad. Okay, Sin City, if your idea of a good time is to take us to Spearmint Rhino, boy, you have got it way, way, way mistaken, man. Because obviously I would be the only one that wants to go. It's been a while, you know? It's crazy, you know, when you're in your 20s, the world is your oyster. And, you know, you want to do some memorable shit. And then it ends up catching up with you in your 30s. And you forgot to take it off your your Match.com profile, and then it's like, why are all these girls not liking me? Well, you did talk about that incident at Spearmint Rhino. So, is everybody getting their stimulus money tonight? You gotta make sure you have your direct deposit set up with the IRS. No, it's not a joke. They are dispersing it, I guess, tonight. So there you go. Rocky Superstar. Hey, Carl, congratulations, man. That's actually a tougher grade than you think. Mint State 66 Red is a tough grade, especially for, you know, one of the most widely searched varieties of 90s Lincolns. I mean, love it or hate it. I mean, shoot, that's not an easy feat. Yeah. Never missed two shots. Chris Poro, not in this stream. Although on Monday we took a week off on Live Coin Q&A YouTube channel. We are going to be back on Monday, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. Be there or be square, Chris. $600, Louise. Yeah, they didn't pass the $2,000. I mean, Trump's idea was pretty nice. $2,000 would help out a whole mess of people. But you didn't get $2,000, Sin. Did you? They didn't pass that. Right? Tell you what, you know, whoever the president is, I usually have high hopes, right? I'm not going to make this a political situation, but for as long as they've been drawing out this thing, okay, the secondary stimulus package, I'd figure $2,000 is fair, right? Because helping the people along at a very vulnerable time, you know, the fucking holidays. I mean, come on, give me a break. people could not enjoy their holidays enough because there was no money. People people are not working because they lost their job, or they're working half the amount of hours. Yeah, that's true, Paula. I mean, I'm not going to say it is what it is. I mean, it should have been, at first. At first, I don't care who the president is. I mean, the president. I mean, give him, love him, hate him, loathe him, whatever. Give him some fucking credit. $2,000 in the bank. Holy shit! There are people that are barely. I mean, didn't the unemployment benefits just kick the bucket like a few days ago, and now it's revitalized for a few more months? I mean, yeah. What Bitcoin is projected to reach $50,000 within 12 to 18 months, Chris. $50,000. If you guys haven't put in a few bucks in Bitcoin, I would highly recommend you do so. I'm not one to endorse a product but for the first fucking time, I actually I'm using a cryptocurrency app on my phone, crypto.com, as a matter of fact. And it's like, oh shoot, I'll throw in a few $100 in there. If anything, it'll be for my kids, after they move out of the house or whatever. I mean, it's all good. One thing I always say is you always focus on your future. The future of your kids is very important because, you never know what's going to happen. And it's always good if you have the ability to throw in a few bucks into some sort of retirement thing, then, thank you, Paula, for your service and intercepting some stuff. Silver City Stacker. I mean, you can put in as much as you want or as little as you want. I mean, it's all fractional, and the rate of return right now is like 8 to 10%. So let's say, to keep the math basic, you put in $1,000, okay, in the crypto app, and you let it sit there. Your rate of return off the interest is going to be 8 to 10%, which is good, and it's all compounding. So after the first month, okay, you get your 8 to 10% off of your $1,000. What is that, $80 to $100? And then you now have 1,080. Okay, and then now you're working with that for the next month, and it's just going to keep piling up more money, and it's compounding because it's going to be 8 to 10% off of that new balance every month. Now, as long as cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is performing as projected, you're in like Flynn. Hey, Silver City, I put in $200. That's it. I only put in $200. I'll probably end up doing $100, $200 a month. I mean, I'm not made of money. I mean, coin channel may sound glamorous, like I'm rich, but at the same time, coin collectors, we all have budgets, and budgets are small, budgets are big. It's really immaterial at that point. The only important thing is you're in a hobby, you're enjoying it. I feel like if I were a gazillionaire where I can afford any rare coin I wanted to, like any shit I wanted to, I feel like that would take the fun out of it. The part of the fun is being able to save up your money and then going to a certain period in time, and you're like, you know what? I'm ready to spend $15,000 on that rare Dahlonega mint gold coin, or that Carson City something another, or whatever the case may be. Okay, you could get to a point in time. The part of the fun is saving up for it. Now, you have to be a good saver to get there. That's for sure. Some people have said it's better to be poor, but I mean, a poor lifestyle also is up here. If you're not doing so well in your life, okay, mentally you're not performing so well either. So people are going to look at you like a Debbie Downer. You're going to be down on yourself all the time. I got to a point in my life, where this was actually 15, 16 years ago, where I was at the absolute lowest in my life. And I'm not afraid to talk about that. I was living out of my car for 3 months, and I felt like, yeah, Michael, it kind of is. Again, crypto has to perform, but when it doesn't perform, that's it. At this point with crypto, you're riding the wave, okay, up. And then of course it's going to get to a point where it's going to come an adjustment time. But getting back to what I've lived through, back in 2005, where I was pretty much forced to move out of state. I ended up moving in Florida and living with family members that I did not get along throughout my childhood. And that was tough. And it got to a point where, I ended up having to leave, and I was basically homeless. I mean, I was homeless for just over 3 months. And then I got back in with a buddy of mine that I knew from one of my jobs. We all come from somewhere. We all have to start somewhere. That I always look back at that time, which is very recent. It's 15 years. It was after high school, after college, and then after, and then before I got to meet my wife after I moved back to California. My dad passed away in 2005. It was the absolute low. Oh, Adam Chambers, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it, brother. That's going to go in the old cryptocurrency retirement fund for my daughter for a little while. Michael thinks it'll crash. I mean, all good things come to an end. But, you never forget where you came from, because as long as you have that ingrained in your memory and you had the times that were least enjoyable to you, you begin to continue to enjoy where you're at today. And it makes you a better person. It makes you work harder. It makes you become a better husband to your kids, or to your wife, and a better dad to your kids. But it's like, it was a shitty time in my life. Nicholas Brown. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. So, there is a word right here. It should say overreaction, right? Like somewhere in this area right here. I see it on screen, so obviously I'm not pointing at a blank fucking space. So it says overreaction. And the reason why that the whole topic of the penny keeps coming back up, it usually comes up, in some major conversation at least once a year. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's get started with the fact that I had a conversation with a couple of good friends of mine. Okay. One person in which is not in the hobby. He's just, he's kind of like the guy on the outside looking in, okay, to us, to this elite group of coin collectors and snobs and nerds, which I can honestly say I'm probably all three-way tie. So my buddy and then one other person that I've known for a while as well, who's also an avid coin collector, we all said, we all kind of got together and talked. Okay, we're all good friends. Okay, except the one weirdo that doesn't collect coins is not in it. So we doubled down on the conversation that we probably had about 3 or 4 times before. It's like the penny is becoming way too expensive to manufacture. Okay, so something's got to give. Now, obviously, we have one pretty recent example. Okay, the nation of Canada has gotten rid of the penny. They're not manufacturing it. As a matter of fact, it's almost 12 years, guys, that Canada has decided to say fuck you to the penny because it got way too expensive to manufacture. And even then, to us, 12 years ago, there was talk like, the penny is costing like 3 to 5 cents to make. I mean, in terms of just looking at it from, if you said that, it's like, wow, that's a waste. Hey, yeah, it is a waste. So why hasn't anyone done anything about it? Well, it's been like that for about the last 10 years. It's always like this kind of like back and forth conversation. All of a sudden there'd be some dipshit rumor that comes up about, oh yeah, they're going to stop the penny. And it's like 5 years later. Well, what happened to that? It never happened. And here we are this year. Now, the big rumor with this year, okay, as of course, there's only like 36 hours left, in this year is that they're going to find alternative metals for the penny. Okay, which makes sense. But how are you going to find an alternative metal? And then by the time you factor in the cost of labor to get the cost of producing 1 cent under a penny. Well, Rocky Superstar, I mean, that's double the amount of money. It doesn't matter how you split it up. It's still costing more money and wages are going up. So that in turn kind of reflects on the overall cost of what, how much it is to manufacture one coin, 1 penny. So, Jerry, I mean, Jerry has the right idea. They're tinkering with aluminum, but they've been tinkering with that for, 5-6 years now. And we haven't heard anything about it. But is it a viable, replacement metal for the copper-coated shitty zinc? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wanted to give a shout out to Dennis, the Speed Menace. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. And Michael posed a really fascinating inquiry. And I've heard this before. And he said no one ever said that making a cent. I actually put it right there. No one ever said that making a cent needed to be profitable. Where else is the government turning a profit? That makes a whole hell of a lot of sense, man. And I want to believe that the government isn't also some entity that doesn't try and make a profit somewhere to get in over the ridiculous amount of deficit, money that we owe ourselves or whatever the fuck it is. And I don't know. I mean, you look at the U.S. Mint website. That's a government-run agency. Yet they're selling all this shit for a lot of money. I mean, they're turning a profit somewhere. That is a business entity, and it's also a government entity. So, I would like to say, oh yeah, they're not a business in the business of trying to turn a profit, because there are certain things that they do where there's a bottom line involved, there is a cost, and then there's going to be the ultimate outcome. It doesn't matter what it is, right? I mean, they pay senators and governors and all this other stuff X amount of dollars. It's always a lot of fucking money. A lot of 6-figure people walking around that are leaving the courthouses and the county public office and, from DC and all that stuff. And again, not trying to get political. It's just when you look at things, I mean, you're paying all these people all this oodles of money, and, something has to show for it. Okay. Or it can't be this kind of like, whoa, the fucking scale is tipping way over. All right. So what does that leave us? When it comes to the penny, let's say the U.S. government, the mint, decides, you know what? We are going to make an announcement that we are going to stop the penny. Now, from a person who doesn't deal in numismatics, collectibles, coins, whatever, they're going to say, okay, all right, they're going to be bobbing their head like a dumbass like this, just trying to figure it out without thinking about the repercussions of it. Like what's a repercussion that is, in a sense, at first glance, minor. Oh, we're just going to round everything up and, we're going to absorb more taxes into the cost of your goods. So we're going to round everything up to the nearest 10 cents or the nearest nickel. It's like, oh, okay. Well, you don't think about it. It's only like 1 or 2 cents, right? I don't know. After all the things that people pay for, I mean, it all certainly adds up. LeBron James is 36 today. Holy crap, he's old. He's not 40 yet, so he's still got a few good years left in him. We'll see. So, I don't know. I mean, if we look at the penny disappearing, how much of a death blow? And I think that's what I said in my original kind of like title statement. What's going to happen if the penny disappears? Is it a death blow to numismatics? No, probably not necessarily, I would say, because there's going to be all sorts of other denominations of coins coming back in. So that's the good part. When there's all sorts of denominations of other coins that are, I'm not going to say profitable, but at least if they're keeping their margins in line to where it's not going to be ridiculous. Now, the nickel is also a coin that I think is priced a little bit high to manufacture as well. What, 7 cents for every nickel? So I don't know if I don't think they're going to do anything with that. Just to keep it simple. But if the penny did go away, I think that's going to be more of a death blow for the coin family and the community than it would be on a national scale. People look at it like, oh yeah, it's fine. It's all good. And then you're going to have the people which encompass and comprise, a very small percentage of people that are like, man, I love coins and I like the history. I like finding varieties and double to dies, and I like to look for errors and all that stuff. That is going to hurt quite a bit. I'm not joking. And for me personally, considering that out of any denomination I look at, when I go through rolls or I ask for rolls at the bank, pennies is right the heck up there. And I get sad. I really do. I get sad when I go to like 5 banks, and they're all like banks that I bank with, and I know everybody by name and all that. I'm like, oh well, we can only give you 4 rolls of pennies, and you have to go to another bank and get another 4 rolls of pennies, and another bank, and they're like, well, we don't have any pennies to give. I'm like, that doesn't quite work out for me. I want a whole $25 box of pennies. And there are places in the country. I mean, I have friends in Texas and all that are like, yeah, we have no problem getting pennies over here. We could get them by the bushel full. And I've come to the realization that I'm doing something a little bit different. Okay, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but check this out. You see this shit right here? These are rolls of coins that my wife is actually going out and advertising for me and actually getting from Facebook. So we got these rolls, and they look like they're in like blue painter's tape or something, but this is the kind of stuff that's out there. Guess what? You're never going to believe this. I went through about $400 face in assorted coins. And guess what? I've come to the conclusion that people are hoarders. Not in a bad way. But I had 2 or 3 groups of coins that had come in from families that are relatively local. The newest coins in there were like from 2013, 14. I'm like, wow. They've been holding on to this stuff for 6-7 years, not taking it to the bank. And you could only imagine when COVID hit back in March, there were stay-at-home orders. Businesses were forced to close, big and small, because people didn't know how to handle the transition from a life, say, in 2019, where it was like, oh my God, it was normal. We used to go out, we used to shake each other's hands, we used to stick 3 fingers in a bowling ball, and guess what? There were 40 other people that stuck their fingers in that same bowling ball in the same week. And then now we look at it, we're like, oh. It's like, it's like picking up the bowling ball and sticking your tongue in the thumb hole. And it's repulsive now because of Corona and everything that's going on. But when businesses closed and people stayed put, everything else with them stayed put, all of their personal belongings. Nobody traveled. Nobody rolled up coins and took them to the bank. All the businesses that had their what do you call it? Their merchant coins is what I like to call it. It's like walking into a fucking bank. You walk into a bank and there's 2 lines usually. There's one for regular kind of like general population people that like to go up, cash a check, withdraw cash over $500. And then you had this line, and everyone had their like little vinyl bag. It's like full of cash and all that. It's all their deposits from their business or whatever. It's like, I want to be in that special fucking line right there. And then after COVID hit, you walk into a bank, it's all single file, and they got like 2 lines open, but it's on the opposite sides of each other. I mean, it's like, it's 40 feet away from one teller to the other. You had one line, everybody was 6 feet apart. Nobody had their big fucking vinyl bags full of cash. And I'm like, There's where it is. There's no businesses coming in. They're not bringing in business. People are seeing cash as the most common way to transfer Corona. We don't want anything to do with that. I tell you what, why don't you just Venmo me the money? You guys know how many times I've heard that in the last like 6 to 8 months? I tell you what, I will Venmo you the money. You give me the items. As a matter of fact, you can just leave it on my fucking porch. I'm like, okay, wow. But I've heard it so many times that it has become like a normalized thing in our life. And I can't be the only one. Hey, why don't you PayPal gift me that? Why don't you send me an invoice for that? Go ahead and Venmo me. Apple Pay me. It's the life world we live in. Now, as coin collectors, it hurts. There are people that are still cashing in coin. Here in my neck of the woods, nobody wants to touch cash. It's dirty. It's the most dirtiest thing you could possibly think of. Oh, Sin City. Not everything dirty is like your ex-girlfriend. Jeez. The guy is a nut. Well, you kind of have to be that way when you're in Vegas, right? Because nothing is ever normal in Vegas. Take it from a guy who lived in Reno for 8 years. I get it. Eric. Yeah, F this, F that. I think I would be downplaying it if I said that this whole thing was the whole Corona thing wasn't wearing down on me. But I'll be honest, it's one of those things that as a lifeblood human being, okay, again, remember I said at the very beginning of this live stream, like, hey, would you see yourself? Because my wife wants to move to Hawaii. I'm like, what are we going to do out here? It's gorgeous. The weather's kind of funky and it's hot during the winter and all this other stuff. But I'm a guy that likes to migrate. I like to go meet people, touch it, shake their hand and, slap them on their shoulder at the same time. That's what I like doing. I like to meet people on the go and, do business. And, we'd be sitting there, eating a meatball sub, and we're sitting there, dripping sauce all over the place. And it's not like that anymore. So yeah, things are very different. It's weighing down heavily on me and, just about everybody else. And, it's a very, very, even though we've been living it for 9 months, it's still a very strange concept to be isolated. It's like some bad, weird, twisty 1950s sci-fi flick where everybody is like wearing masks and peppers and, radioactive suits. And all they have to do is like walk around and go to the Piggly Wiggly or the Safeway. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is, Cindy. It's cabin fever. Although I'm not in a cabin. I'm in a tract home with hundreds of other homes and they all look the same. I feel like my life is very bland and boring. And that's probably why I do videos like this. Is to escape from my shell and to talk about things that maybe normal people in this hobby don't want to talk about for the fear of kind of like, exposing themselves. But, if it comes down to it, don't keep it all bottled up inside of you. See, Nicholas, no mask, no lockdown. Now, there are states that operate on their own, the beat of their own, drum. And that's fine, as long as things are kind of like, safe. And there's not this big, weird kind of like outbreak of new COVID cases in your community, then that's fine. No, Dennis, yeah, I forgot you were in Maryland, huh? Call me crazy. I'm an Eastern Shore kind of guy. I like being close to the ocean. I just like the area. You out there, farmlands for as far as I can see until you hit Ocean City. Yeah, I do miss it out there. Yeah, we have a few casinos in the area, and everybody's wearing masks. In spite of the fact that we are going through this pandemic together. There are still a shitload of people that like to, pull the good old one-armed bandit, and it's crazy. I see just a revolving door of people driving through the casinos here. We finally have a Hard Rock casino. So, we're another place that has a Hard Rock branded, place to gamble your stimulus check on. But anyways, yeah, just to kind of recap what I'm trying to get at here is that, yeah, I think as a coin group and community, we would suffer greatly. If I would hate to throw this out there because nobody wants to ever imagine this. Some of the biggest, most epic pennies that you could think of, pennies, cents, whatever, however you want to call it, however you want to think about it, just think about all of the biggest varieties in the Lincoln Cent series. And can you imagine a lot of these going into the smelter or going to get destroyed because a lot of the coins are being brought into the bank? Hey, guess what? I don't know. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but in Canada, didn't they bring in like pennies? People are bringing pennies to the banks and they will give them like 1.5 cents, or am I off my rocker on that one? But there was an incentive to bring in pennies, and then they opened up melting. I've had a lot of people ask me, "Hey, Blueridge, is it legal to melt pennies in the U.S.?" I'm like, "No, there's no melting, whatever. You can't melt pennies in the U.S. In Canada, you can't, because they're not producing it anymore. So anything 96 and under is copper in Canada, whereas here in the U.S. it's 82 and under. But not every 82 Lincoln Cent is copper. Okay, some of it, that's a transition date for a number of places. Eastern Shore Freedom, yeah, we're kind of into a cashless society nowadays, and again, me as a purist coin hoarder nut guy, it hurts because I think about every $25,000 69S double die will be gone from circulation forever, except for the few, like 20 of them that are out there that are in collections. Every 92 close AM, you can even go back to like the older coins as well. You think about every repunchment mark, every 72 DDO, every 84 double deer, 83 DDR, God, you name it, 94 DDR. I mean, there's a ton of them. There's many hundreds of thousands of dollars in just varieties that's waiting to be untapped. If the penny did disappear and then, melting became legal for the copper stuff, it's going to hurt. And then what are we going to do? We're going to go to nickels, dimes. Ugh. Jeez. It's like last week's, casserole. Never going to get any love until they decide to do something different with it. And quarters, good old quarters, and $50. $50, I feel like, should be disappearing from circulation. Nobody's ever using it. $50 is for sport, right? Going out and trying to find silver. It's still all about the silver. Which silver spiked a little bit the other day, and it's still creeping up a little. But yeah, Eric, good to see you, man. Great to see you. Well, Coins and Coffee. I did a live stream on Dimes a few days ago, last week, and I was about 40 minutes into my live stream. My daughter decided to call up because I like to do my live stream on my iPhone, and my daughter decided to call up and killed the stream. I could usually, if someone tried calling, I'll decline the call and the stream would come back okay. It didn't. It got screwed up. But I'm going through the dimes. I'm like, I was beginning to develop Frankenstein hands. My fingers got all crampy and arthritic. Dimes are just tiny, and you're sitting there just trying to flip them off your fingers, and it's not easy. Dimes are not my favorite. Although, to recap, I found 2 silvers, three or 4 reverse of 68s. And that's pretty much my claim to fame. I think I might have found like a struck through grease, but aside from that, that's what we got. But no, dimes Dimes can go kiss my bare white ass because those things are small and sometimes they're useless. I like half dollars if and only if I could get a hold of them. That's really easier said than done. Quarters are kind of like that happy medium, although, you know, as you guys know, the new quarter coming out, the 2021 Crossing the Delaware, of course. Yeah, I did my video a few days ago about that release and what I thought about it, but I wanted to kind of elaborate a little bit on there as well, because we've had people that chimed in, they've commented on that video, and there are a pretty good amount of people that had their things to say about the coin, about how busy the design looked and how they weren't crazy about it, and how, well, you know, I really wish they would have passed another quarter program legislation and all this other stuff. Yeah, I like the new design. It looks good. I mean, you know, you can't get any better than that. And, you know, some would say the design is busy. It is, you know, but yeah, there's always this negative aspect when it comes to change. You know, change is inescapable in everything that we do today, right? Back in March, we had the change. The whole fucking world changed within a week. And it was the hardest thing that we had to go through. I mean, how hard can it be? It was difficult, man. You know, it's like eating in a restaurant is never the same. And eating in a restaurant is supposed to be an experience for everyone. And it's not. It's not anymore. I'm like, I don't want to go to a restaurant. I have to wear a mask. And if I can't talk to the people on the table next to me, or, you know, it's just, I don't know. I'm ready for it to go on. And Paula, what are you alluding to? Are you talking about the Crossing the Delaware quarter, or are you talking about the quarter program that's going to be coming up with the notable women, or whatever it's called? Nothing makes Paula happy. I'll be sure to email David Ryder at the Mint, see if he could do something about it. Maybe we could open up the Carson City Mint Press. I think I'm due for an interview with Mark at the Carson City, or the Nevada State Museum. He actually operates the press. They still do souvenir medallions off that old antiquated press that used to produce the Carson City Morgans and the half dollars, the seededs. Travis Phillips in the house, ladies and gentlemen. He and I grew up together a long, long time ago. He, my brother, Travis, and a few other guys. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Mr. Rico Suave. Hey, if you're going to come down here so that way we could go to the Nevada State Museum, a.k.a. the Carson City Mint, I would be all down for it. It was better when they had the coin show at the Mint. They used to have it every single year. They didn't have it last year for the obvious reasons. Yeah, but we'll go together. Yeah, Travis, you damn right, man. I am a good man sometimes. You're loving the show. Hey, I like to mix it up a little bit, you know. We can't be all stuffy. Oh, on the contrary, you should use this magnifier right here to get you the best results. Oh, by the way, the Red Book price guide is fantastic. Just don't look at the prices. You know, it's like, oh, come on. Can we just talk like normal people? Like, you know, how am I going to be able to afford the fucking $10,000 gold coin that you have in your case, buddy? Yeah, that's what I want to say. Or maybe we could talk about it over coffee or a beer. Yeah, that's good. A beer. I've got the belly and I don't drink beer. So that tells you something. I don't know, Nicholas, about whether or not they're going to adopt some West Point mintage on the new quarters. There's something deep down inside that's telling me that that's going to happen. I don't know. People are like, again, people are very split right down the middle with this change after the National Park Series is over and done with. People like the new design, but they're ready to get into another program that's like multi-year. I'm like, I'm tired of that shit. That stuff burns me out. And I just don't know what to do at that point, you know. But me, I don't work at the Mint, so I don't have to make those tough decisions. We are definitely not stuffy. We're the most entertaining group of bastards on the face of this earth. And I mean that in a good way, Paula, because if you haven't checked it out, the live coin Q&A panel is the pursuit of perfection in the coin hobby, in which you will love to be a part of. Yes, the 2021 piece of Morgan dollar are they officially called commemoratives, Adam, for next year? That I'm looking forward to. I want to see what they're going to do. I'm not going to see what they're going to do, obviously, but I want to see this new program in action, because a brand new 999 silver piece in Morgan is certainly right up my alley. Lemzia, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, SoCal, NorCal, it's all the same. We got shitty homeless up here. You guys got shitty homeless down there. You know, there's still a cajillion people. I mean, I like Disneyland, but Disneyland, are they open? I don't think so, right? Well, it's real simple, Ken. Blue Book, I think, has an emphasis on retail or wholesale prices. Like if you're going to go and sell your coins, it's like the gray sheet to an extent, or the coin dealer newsletter for the old guys, you know. But the Red Book does all the same stuff as the Blue Book, but it gives you the pertinent information. Okay, you want to know something about coins of a specific series, you go and read about it. And it's like the short version. There's like a whole deep and wide part of every series that not a lot of people know about. Like, who's the master attributor of the series of shield nickels? Or, you know, can you tell me a little bit more about the hoard of all of these copper cents, you know, of this one particular type that was discovered in West Virginia and all that? You know, everything is like deeper and wider. But yeah, 2021 is certainly going to be an interesting kind of looking glass as we kind of try and attempt to move on beyond Corona and trying to get back to normalcy. Because right now, I know we're all living our life and then we're having to do it with masks on, and we're all looking at each other like, you know, oh my God, stay the fuck away from me. You're 4.5 feet close to me. You know, it's like, I hate living that life. They're crazy. And, you know, I don't want to live that way. I'm like, you certainly got brainwashed by this whole thing. And, you know, I still see you as a person. You know, we're wearing the mask, but we're still talking to each other. I'd prefer to talk to each other rather than, you know, looking at me and indicting me because I'm 4 feet to you. You know, it's like, people are nuts. So, Alan, it's funny. It's funny you said that, because yeah, a little jar to every time I cuss. That thing would probably have like $300 in it right about now. Oh man. Yeah, Nicholas. Yeah, the homeless is a huge deal, and I'm very torn about it. I'm like, you know, people self-inflict to get in that position. Some people make the decision to get in that position. And you're like, hey, you know what? Screw paying $5,000 mortgages and all that stuff, because there are people that work awesome jobs at like Google and all that are homeless. But that's the way they want it. And then you have the other people that have no control over it. Like, yeah, we got kicked out of our apartment because they hiked up the rent by 40%. We can't afford it. And, you know, I'm a single mom with 2 kids and 2.5 dogs. And I don't know how to support them, you know, so we have to move out or do, assisted housing or something. It's just it's so surreal how everything during the pandemic has changed property values. Like everything is so expensive in the state of California. And it's crazy. I'm like, how are we having the reverse effect on everything? Why are collectibles so expensive all of a sudden? Why is it that I want to buy a pack of Pokemon cards at Target and they're all sold out, whereas 8 months ago you can give away this shit, and it's crazy, and people are spending money hand over fist for some of the most undeserved things for no reason. And I'm like, you know what? When the nation gets back to neutral, everybody's getting back to work and everybody's content and happy, and it's like business as usual, then people are going to forget about all this other stuff that inflated over our very eyes because it was a momentary feeling. So yeah, and that's the thing with the stimulus package, because when we ended up getting that back, was it June or something, or July, I forgot, it's been so long though already. There were a lot of people that did not need the stimulus money, so they're spending it on stuff. Collectibles was one of them, and everything got expensive. Video games. I mean, we couldn't find a Nintendo Switch for like 5 months, and I really wanted to get one for our family. We ended up finding one. Okay, and that was like a month ago. After the supply chain has caught up with the demand, and that's only because people were beating the crap out of each other over the PS5 and all that stuff. So yeah, it's crazy what happens when money is being injected into the economy. We have another one, although it's not as big. I think I was hoping for the $2,000 stimulus check, as a lot of other people, not for myself specifically. There's a lot of other people that really need it a lot more than I do. And yeah, Sonny, you make a great point. I was actually shopping, not guns, but I've been shopping for a compound bow, and I wanted to play around with stuff like that. I can't find it. Hey, everybody is sold out. Ammunition is hard to find right now. The one gun shop that's in town over here, every time they get a shipment in, there's a line of people. There's a line of people at the front door. It's either you're there and you're okay, or you're out. No, Ramon, I'm not investing in TP stocks, you silly goose. But anyways, that's why I want to talk about. We're coming up on an hour. I figure I just, go ahead and kill it, because I see the views dropping, and that's okay. I'm getting tired. My voice is hoarse from all the crap talk tonight. Hopefully I didn't offend a whole lot of you. We're turning the page into a new chapter. 2021 is going to be some epic shit, in a good way. And just like all you guys, I'll be right here walking through that door with you. We won't see Ryan Seacrest's, caked up face of on TV. I don't know. I'm not. He'll probably still be there, but the one thing that's changed is that you're not going to see 100,000 people behind him in Times Square. At least I don't think so. I don't know. We'll see here. But anyways, it was certainly a slice of heaven to talk to each and every single one of you. This was a lot of fun. Got to say hi to a lot of you. Then you should have no problem selling your PMs. Not right now. People are buying PMs right now. I would say if you're looking to maximize the amount of money you can for your precious metals, is try and sell them onto a Facebook group. Like one of my favorites is Silver Miners. People will pay you market value plus a percentage. and that's going to be your best bet. Whereas if you went to a coin shop or whatever, they're only going to give you they're going to give you a lot less than melt. And again, you want to maximize. But anyways, thank you everyone for joining in Blue Ridge After Dark. It was certainly a pleasure. And I wish you guys nothing but the best of health and success as we roll into 2021. And again, I'll be right here every step of the way with you. We are going to do this together. You guys are not alone in this journey to just overall worldly improvements. So thank you guys. Love you. Coinaholics, we're discovering together. Don't get too shit-faced on New Year's Eve because you want to remember all the good stuff as we go into the new year. All right, guys, have a good one. Good night, and I'll see you next time.